Welcome to SC Conversation. I'm your host, Brian Mosteller. Our guest today will be Coach Erie Williams and Coach Mike Pettit, Athletic Director of Riverside High School. So we'll get into some Riverside High School athletics today. So welcome both. Welcome both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Erie, tell us a little about yourself.
My name is Erie Williams. I'm the new head football coach at Riverside High School football. Just finished my first year. Very excited about the direction the program is going. Definitely Riverside is a great place, has great kids, so just very excited about the future. I spent 15 years at Greer High School where I was an assistant under Will Young. Tremendous program, is well-established program, learned a lot. Was able to take some of these lessons and life lessons to Riverside with me. I was born and raised in Greer, so I was a Greer High graduate, a Greer High alum, and I went on from there and played college ball at Wingate University under Coach Joe Reich. He's been there forever. He came in after my freshman year. I was actually recruited by another guy, David Brush, but then Coach Wright came in and did a great job and has turned that program into amazing. So two great coaches that I've got a chance to learn from. Of course, I played for Stuart Holcomb, one of the Greer High great legendary coaches. Got a lot of good history, good guys that I was able to mentor me. And so very excited about, things that I'm going to bring to Riverside and as we continue to develop.
Well, I mean, your first year, you got Region Coach of the Year. So looks like you're doing something right over there.
Well, just, excited that, my peers thought to see fit that I, won that award. But it just a testament of the coaches that are there, that worked hard and, really sacrificed a lot to help build up these young men.
So tell us a little about trying to change maybe a little bit of the philosophy that you have versus not that anybody that's been there before has done anything wrong, but what you have and the philosophy you have, you think that can build a great program at Riverside.
Well, I tell my kids all the time, I just work hard. And that's one thing that I think that's just the one consistent between all the coaches that I've been around. They worked extremely hard, just building and building, never settling. And that's just something that I'm just going to bring, just my personality in a nutshell itself. Just continue to work hard and then let the chips fall where they fall.
Yeah, I know my boys ran track at Greer, and they ran under you, and you're a very good motivator. I mean, you're not for them, you weren't an in-your-face guy, but they always knew you were there. They always knew you had their back, and you were always going to say something. Sometimes you got to get on people, but then again, you end that with a positive, and that's what they always liked about you.
Yes, sir. Coaching track was a great experience too. Just gave me another outlook of coaching in general, dealing with individual, because track is an individual sport, team sport. Right. So just a lot of dealing with different individuals instead of just the team the entire time. Right. So it just gave me another outlook on how to deal with different situations, different individuals. Yeah. Just kind of molded me into the coach I am today.
So what are some of the different things you're doing? I know the locker room is very important, in especially team sport. So what's something you're trying to instill in them or trying to change to get them motivated to want to come to play every day in work?
Well, three things I stand on is trust, respect, and commitment to excellence. You got to trust the process, respect the teammates and your opponents, and then how committed are you? And we just take it layer by layer. And, those that, fall in line, usually you turn out to have a team that can compete at some level. Right. So if we can just continue with those three things as we move into, Riverside football and continue to grow those three standards, I think we'll be all right.
Okay. So I know football season's over now, but coming back, do you have a lot of veterans coming back, or?
We have a good group of guys that are coming back. We have the Region Player of the Year, Alex Riddle, coming back. We have a running back, and a lot of our defensive guys are coming back. So we're very excited about the core group we have, and then we have some young guys that I think will be able to help us this year as well.
Okay. You're in a tough region.
Oh yeah.
So who all's in your region? Burns?
Yes, it's
Dorman?
It's Dorman, Burns, Spartanburg, Wade Hampton, and us.
Yeah. So I mean, you're talking 3 of those teams right there. You figure they're going to be in the run for the state championship, every year. So that's tough. That's
and it
tough.
is. It is. We're playing a tough conference, which is great. I use it as upside. If you can compete in this region, you can compete across the state.
Right. Right.
So if we can just continue to, try to close the gap and get better and better, we'll be able to compete throughout the state.
Okay. Good. So, Mike, tell us a little about yourself and being the athletic director and head baseball coach at Riverside.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Greer, went to Riverside, played baseball there, played football there, tried to play basketball, but it didn't really work out too long. Went on to the College of Charleston, came back and started helping out in baseball and football. And then I went to Woodmont High School for 2 years to be their head baseball coach. And then I came back to Riverside to be the baseball coach at Riverside. And then after a year, I was Murray Long left for Hillcrest, and I was given the opportunity to be the athletic director, and I've been doing that this will be my 2nd year.
Okay, good, yeah. Coach Long, he was there for years and years.
He was there for a good bit of time, and oftentimes in this job, the time commitment is very, very high, and he decided it was time for him to step back a little bit, spend more time with his family. His kids are getting a little bit older, be able to go to their games and stuff, and he turned it over to me, and it's been exciting.
Good. So I guess talk about from a baseball perspective first. What's your upcoming season like?
Yeah, we're gonna be young this year. We graduated 15 guys the past 2 years that went to play Division I baseball.
Oh wow.
Caden Grice right now at Clemson is doing great things. I just saw the other day he had 4 home runs this weekend in a 2-game inter-squad.
Wow.
So he's doing great things for us. But we're going to be young. Got a lot of shoes to fill. We have some talent there, but they're young. They're going to have to kind of learn quickly and learn on the go, and they'll fall into place quick.
Okay. Good. And what about from an athletic director standpoint? Tell us a little bit about that and a little bit about some of the other sports there at
Riverside. I think we're doing great things. I think I've always said Riverside is one of the greatest schools in the state. One of the 93 state championships since our start in the 1970s. But I think all our sports right now are on the up and up. We've and speaking for the fall, the boys swimming won a region championship. Girls cross country won a region championship. A lot of excitement now in football, and then we start getting to right now in basketball. Our boys basketball team is doing great things. They're ranked in the state. They beat Dorman. Anytime you can beat Dorman in basketball, that's an accomplishment. And we got a big game this week, a chance to go to the 5A playoffs. If things fall right, we could play Dorman again for a region championship. And in the spring we're always a pretty good high school in the spring between our boys and girls soccer, lacrosse, baseball, and softball, our track program. All those sports kind of really end the year well for us, and hopefully get us in the race for the Directors Cup this year.
Oh, good. And I know Riverside, I believe along with Eastside and a couple others, were the first ones to have lacrosse.
Well, yeah, we
nobody around here knew what even lacrosse was.
Yeah, I know when I was in school, lacrosse started as a club, and I really didn't know what it was. Unfortunately, it was during baseball season, so I didn't really give it a chance because I wasn't stopping baseball. But we were one of the first ones to kind of put it in, and right before it became an official South Carolina High School League sport, we won the organization that was running its state championship. So it wasn't a high school league state championship, but it was a very good accomplishment for us.
Okay. So what about, are your coaches pretty much intact there? Your soccer coaches, do y'all have much turnover from a coaching standpoint?
Well, luckily we've been able to keep coaches there for the most part over the past couple of years. I think all our coaches right now are phenomenal. That's the biggest thing. When I came in, I told people, I said, I'm going to get the best coaches I can get. Coach Williams was one of them. He was probably my first big hire. And it's just been a tremendous hire for Riverside. Anytime you can get the football program turned around and create that excitement, it just doesn't help football. It helps every sport. It helps the students. It helps the fan outpour. everybody's excitement kind of pours over into basketball and pours over into spring sports. So hiring Erie has been a tremendous asset for us. Very excited about what's to come. Last year, you know, I had many people talking about how great it was and just the excitement that Coach Erie brought and the staff he brought has just been tremendous. And I'm just excited about the future and where we're heading.
Who's some of your staff, Erie?
Well, I have, since I call the offensive plays, and then my DC is, man, names just slipped my mind. Jeremy Johnson.
Yeah.
Jeremy Johnson is my DC, and then some guys I have, Rashad Jackson as a D-line coach, Tyson Wright as a linebacker coach, and I have a Coach Souls, which is our strength and condition coach. He does a great job in the weight room. He's our running back coach. And Mario Casano played at Greer also. Yeah. He's our quarterback coach, and you know, those are just some of the guys.
Yeah.
And they do a great job. And all the coaches. I know I didn't name everybody.
Yeah.
They all do a great job.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, that's kind of what it's all about too, is getting the right coach. Sometimes the best athlete is not going to be your best coach because sometimes they don't understand. Sometimes just like I say, I'm glad to see you got Mario. Mario's a pretty young guy.
He is.
You know, so you're getting some young guys in there to coach.
He is. He can still throw it himself.
Really?
He can.
Yeah.
He can still spin it pretty good.
Well, I mean that's good. I think that's what you want. You know, you want people who can relate to these kids, especially this day and time. So, but anyway, guys, Erie, Mike, thank you guys so much for coming, talking a little Riverside High School athletics today, and good luck in the future. And we'll have you back looking for a region championship coming up there pretty soon, and y'all keep going.
That's right. Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Thanks from SC Conversation. I would like to take this time to thank all of the wonderful people and businesses who are sponsoring this show. When you visit the businesses, be sure to go in and tell them thank you for sponsoring SC Conversation.
Hardwood flooring is the most popular kind of flooring, and no one has a larger selection of hardwood flooring than Greer Flooring Center. Remember, you'll always find what you're looking for at the price you're looking for at Greer Flooring Center.
Hey, Upstate, Dave Ramsey here to tell you about our investing ELPs, Roger Sims and Jason Carr at Sims & Carr Financial Solutions. Roger and Jason are the only people I personally endorse for investing right here in the Upstate. They specialize in retirement planning, 401k rollovers, as well as mutual funds and other investments. I personally recommend Roger Sims and Jason Carr of Sims & Carr Financial Solutions. Call Roger and Jason today at 879-0337. That's 879-0337.
Hello, welcome to SC Conversation. I'm your host, Brian Mosteller. Our guest today, Dr. and Pastor Drew Hines from Washington Baptist Church in Greer. Drew, welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here, Brian. Thanks for your invitation.
Good. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Drew.
Well, I was born in Greensboro, North Carolina, and my family moved to the Greenville area when I was 16 years old. Graduated from Wade Hampton High School and went to the University of South Carolina and was in radio and television when I got out of Carolina. In fact, I worked here at Channel 16 for a short period of time before I went to seminary.
Okay.
And went to Southern Baptist Theological Seminary in Louisville, Kentucky for schooling. Got my master's and doctorate there at Southern Seminary. and then came back into this area and began pastoring.
Now, what church did you pastor? How many churches around here you pastored?
Well, let's see. When I finished seminary, I pastored in Louisville while I was in school. And then when I finished seminary, I came to Ebenezer Welcome Baptist Church.
Oh, wow.
Up on Highway 414, a great church. And then I was there for a couple of years, and then I went to Pleasant Grove Baptist Church in Greer and was there 12 and a half years and enjoyed my ministry there. And then the Lord led me into denominational work, and I was a director of missions in Lancaster for a couple of years. Went to work for the South Carolina Baptist Convention and worked down there in Columbia for a couple of years, and then went to Andrews, South Carolina, where I pastored First Baptist Church before coming to Washington nearly 20 years ago now.
Wow.
In June, I will be at Washington Baptist Church up on Highway 414 in Greer for 20 years.
Wow.
It's hard to believe.
That is hard to believe. So what brought you to Washington?
I was in Georgetown County, and I had some friends who were on the pulpit committee, pastor search committee at Washington, and they called me and asked me to pray about coming back to the area, and I did, and felt led to come back to Washington, come to Washington, and I'm very grateful that I did. It's been a great experience.
Yeah. Now, you have your wife's family and all from the upstate
Yes,
here.
my wife is a Greer native. Yep. We met in high school at Wade Hampton. They lived in Taylor's at that time, and so I had kind of an introduction to Greer through her and her family.
Right, right. Big family.
Big family, yes. Big family, yeah.
So, so what are some of the changes you've seen at Washington since you been there for 20 years, 20 years ago versus today?
Oh, wow. I could go into a lot. There have been many changes down through the years. And of course, the COVID crisis has forced a lot of change on the churches. We have, unfortunately, we've had to close our doors during the month of January because of a particular outbreak in our church, but we're coming back for worship this coming Sunday, February 7th, and be there. We don't anticipate closing again.
Yeah.
But a lot of our staff, including myself, had COVID, went through a COVID scare, but God was gracious and brought us through. And so we're looking forward to getting back to face-to-face worship. We've been having worship online. We've been live streaming our services Sunday morning and Wednesday night, and so we'll be back live and in person.
Now, how many? Y'all just been through several building, doing a lot of building up at Washington, and y'all have acquired some land over there.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that. How your footprints kind of changed here lately.
That's a miracle story in and of itself. But we have actually had two building projects since I've been there. We built a Sunday school wing. We pretty quickly were running out of Sunday school space, so we built a nursery and an adult Sunday school wing, in addition to an office complex that we're in. And then a few years later, as a matter of fact, in 2018, we added on to the back of the church, built a three-story building, a fellowship hall, more Sunday school space because we were out, and then a food pantry. Our bottom floor is a food pantry. We have a public food pantry offered on Saturdays, every Saturday, and for people to come and pick up groceries and food, much needed.
Okay.
And we have a lot of patronage for our food pantry every week.
Okay. Well, what kind of makes Washington special today? I mean, I know Washington's always been a special place because my family,
Yes.
my grandparents and great-grandparents and all, I mean, they went to Washington.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
when my mom and dad married, we went Methodist. But I've always felt like Washington was kind of home.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I come up there and listen to you preach, and a lot of people say, hey, Brian, you just look at home here, and I'm like, well, I feel at home. I just do. I mean, and that's one thing I love about Washington is, everybody makes you feel so, at home there. No pressure, nothing like that. You just kind of feel at home. So what are some of the special programs and who's over the programs, like youth and things like that, that are growing at Washington Baptist?
We had some staff changes. We felt several years ago now that we needed an additional full-time staff member, and we called Reverend Joe Price to be our associate pastor. And Joe was on staff with us for 16 years and did a marvelous job. Mm-hmm. And recently he retired, and we called Reverend Trent Henson to be our new associate pastor. Trent had been associated with the Greer Christian Learning Center for some time, and he and his wife Scotty and daughter Kareth were members of our church, a part of our church, and Trent was taking seminary courses and subsequently graduated with a seminary degree. And so we felt led of God to call him as our next associate pastor. He is our associate pastor. And Ms. Carla Ross was our minister of music for about 30 years.
Wow.
And I tell people our staff at Washington's kind of like kudzu. Once you get us, you can't get rid of us. But Carla is no longer with us, and Mr. Stephen Gillespie is our interim minister of music. Stephen led the band at Greer High School for many years. And Travis Henson, Trent's brother, is our minister of youth and has been for 15 years. Travis teaches at Blue Ridge High School and is the head baseball coach. And it's funny, I baptized Travis at Ebenezer Welcome when he was 8 years old.
Wow.
And so we're thankful to the Lord for our committed and dedicated staff. And that's one of the features, I think, of Washington, are the people who serve on the staff of Washington who are committed to serving God and following His will.
Yeah, that's a lot of what I hear. Different people have gone to Washington and all, and it seems to be a very close knit group. Everybody's kind of family up there. I know a lot of times people will cook on Saturday mornings for different things, and then they love to see people coming in to the food pantry, and they just try to build relationships with them. So I love that about Washington, and I think it's a lot with your leadership too, because you're out and about all the time. So a true pastor. So what are some of the things in the future you see? What kind of things in the future do you have planned? Any building projects or anything, or just what do you see going on in the future at Washington?
Well, we want to get back. We first of all want to get out of this COVID crisis like everybody else in the world does. And we're praying for a resolution to that, and thankful that we see some very promising trends in that area. So as we come out of COVID, I think we've learned a lot of lessons. I think we've grown in a lot of ways during this time. In some ways, things will never be the same.
Right.
But we intend, with God's help, to go forward. And I see nothing but a bright future in the days ahead as we try to fulfill God's purpose for us up there on Highway 14. Been there 200 years, as you well know.
Right.
Your family was a very important part of the early days of Washington, and I wrote the 200-year history of the church, and I just wrote it too early to include the COVID challenge, because that would have been a chapter or maybe two chapters right there.
Yeah.
But we've had to adapt like everybody else, and God's been good. We have tragically lost members of the church during this time, and a lot of us have had the virus itself.
Yeah.
So it's been a challenge.
Yeah. Well, appreciate what you guys do in Greer, and it's a great church. And hey, if you're looking for a church home, Washington's always there. Or if you just want to go to church or live stream or whatever, you know, go check out Washington Baptist Church in Greer. Thank you from SC Conversation. Thanks again to our guests and our wonderful sponsors. Remember, you can stay informed about SC Conversation during the week on our Facebook page and website. Also, feel free to send us an email at info@scconversation.com. Thanks for watching, and have a great evening.